Hi, I'm going to show you how to make a color matrix. You'll need one of your mixed media sheets, a ruler, pencil, paint palette with paintbrushes, and a cup of water. Alright, the first thing you want to do is hydrate your paints. So if you take a bigger brush and put a couple of drops in each paint, make sure not to mix up the paints. Like that, I have a little bit of blue. It can also be handy to have a paper towel handy. Alright, so I'm going to make sure my paintbrush is clean. And while the water is activating the paints, we can get over to measuring our matrix over here. So on your ruler, you have a centimeter side that goes out to 25, 30 on a foot ruler. And then on the other side, you have your inches that go up to 10 and usually 12 on a ruler. We're gonna be measuring every half inch. So it's gonna be, we're gonna line up our paper with the 0, and then we're gonna make a tick mark on this 0.5, 1, 0.5, 2, 0.5, 3, and so on. So I'm taking my ruler and I'm gonna start by lining up that 0 with the end of the paper, and then I'm gonna put a tick mark at 0.5, 1, 0.5, 2, 0.5, 3, up until 8 inches. That way I'll have a half-inch margin and I'll have 15 boxes. Alright, so now that I have my 8 inches of tick marks, I want to go about half the page, line it up with the 0 again, and then 0.5, 1, 0.5, 2, 0.5, 3, up until the 8. There we go. So I already have a 0.5 margin on this side. I also want to give up myself a 0.5 margin here. So I'm going to put a little separate tick mark. I'm going to match the 0 on the bottom and find 0.5, little tick mark. Come on the other end of the paper, find 0.5, another tick mark, and I'm going to line these two up and draw a line. You don't want to draw darkly in case you mess up and have to go back to erase. You can just draw kind of light and then come back. So now that I know where 0.5 is, I can take my ruler, line it up with the paper again, the 0 to the paper, and then I'm gonna make sure my ruler lines up with the tick mark down here and the tick mark up here. I'm gonna find the 8, give myself another tick mark, and then draw a line from the 0.5 all the way to the 8. And then I'm gonna go down one more and do the same thing. Line the 0 to the end of the paper, and then draw a line from the 0.5 to the 8, and give a little tick mark on the end. Alright, now that I've finished my vertical lines, I'm going to work on my horizontal lines. I'll want to line my ruler, the 0, up to the end of the paper, and also that first line. And then again, I'm going to make tick marks every 0.5 up until 8. So 0.5, 1, 0.5, 2, I'm gonna come down at the bottom line and do the same thing. Line up the 0 to the paper. And then every 0.5 up until 8. Now you're just going to line all these tick marks up and then draw the lines across. Alright, so with this I'm going to label it with each of the colors that I have on my palette. I have black, purple, red, orange, yellow, blue, green, and brown. But I'm going to skip every other one. And I'm doing that so that when I paint this red and then the yellow, they won't touch each other and bleed into one another. So I'm going to put red. I think I like to go in the rainbow order. So red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, BL for black, BR for brown. And then on this side, I will also do the same order, going here, I'm going to do red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, BL for black, BR for brown. So now I'm gonna do just one set. So I think I'm gonna do my verticals first. And then it's really important to let those dry before you move on to the horizontal. But I'm going to go ahead and paint in these verticals. Make sure you clean off your paintbrush in between colors. So now that I've given my color matrix some time to dry, I can paint in my horizontal stripes. I recommend you paint in the in-between blank squares first and then quickly paint over where the color is so that there's a layer of color that overlaps it, but you don't mix the two together too much so that it becomes muddied. As you can tell, I had some problems putting too much water on my blues, so I had to quickly go back and pick up some of that water to make sure it wouldn't mess it up. But otherwise, it turned out pretty much how I want it to. You'll see some observations, like if you add two complements, say a yellow and a purple, it makes kind of a muddy brownish color, or a blue and an orange. If you add the same color, like an orange on an orange, it makes it more vibrant by adding another layer of paint on it. If you add colors that are in the same family, like yellow-orange, you make yellow-orange, and there's different kinds of shades. Even in the browns, you can notice there's a bit of difference along with the black. Color matrix allows you to see the different kinds of relationships you can make if you layer colors. And this will also look a little bit different after it's dried than when it's wet. I noticed especially with the black looks kind of blue when I first paint it on, but then after it dries, it turns more black. So you'll want to notice all these different things. And you'll also want to keep track of which you laid on first and then second. With me, I laid on the verticals and then I did the horizontals, because there are some differences between if you layer a yellow on top of an orange than if you layer an orange on top of a yellow, that kind of thing. All right, don't forget to turn this in.